And of course, if they actually fashion something that makes it easy for refugees to come here, from regardless of where they actually come from, then that's one of their arrows, which has become bent. Their quiver is. I can't think of what the appropriate analogy is for archers, but they bent their quiver.
Yeah, and if you think back to Syria, we did exactly the same thing. Yeah. They spent years telling us how we were the biggest supporter of Syrian
world
camps
leaders
in Lebanon.
Yeah, world leaders.
Whilst stopping them coming here.
Right.
We don't mind paying. We just don't want them to come here.
Mike, I'm going to have to leave it there, but thanks for that.
Cheers,
whatever they say is the opposite of what they're actually saying, it seems to be. It's like every day is opposite day with the regime. 0345 6060 973. It's just past 11:30. The news headlines on LBC with Zora Solomon.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Yes, hello. I've been waiting for you. Hello.
Hello, Pimlico. Alex.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
I am great, mate.
I would like to make a 2 point. First point is, I think this Rishi Sunak case is inside job, basically made by Boris. Because Boris trying to take attention from his scandal, like, Partygate scandal, Syriza scandal, to sacrifice Rishi Sunak. It means he cannot be next prime minister.
But when you say it's an inside job, you're not implying that none of this is untrue.
No, because why is it, for example, she's living here for 15 years, for example, she's claiming. But why is it happening now?
What difference does it make? Because we just found out about it now.
Because it's now everybody is still focused on Partygate scandals, Syriza scandals by Boris, and everybody, a couple of weeks ago, everybody said he must be resigned.
Right.
And then after that, who is going to be next prime minister? More likely Rishi Sunak.
Oh, God, no.
You know what I'm saying? But now this is inside, so they're trying to move attention from Boris. Now, if he's a good guy, a bad guy is Rishi Sunak. But
Alex, the people of this country should be able to keep at least 2 major scandals in their minds at the same time. They are, after all, living next door to each other. We don't even have to think about them far apart geographically. They are hugger-mugger, shoulder to shoulder they are.
Yeah, but also, is everybody talking about his wife, his rules, and after none done this rules, that rules. But my point is, why this type of rules exist in first place?
Well,
who make these rules? Who make these rules?
The rich make the rules for the benefit of the rich, and they exist in this country in the first place because that is what this country does for a living. We launder the ill-gotten gains of the international criminal super-rich. And now, again, I'm not saying that Fishy and his wife are the international criminal super-rich. They are super rich and they are international. I'm not suggesting that there is any criminality involved, but that's what we do,
course.
And we know that that's the truth because of this oligarch thing. Because the squinty-eyed golem in Moscow invaded Ukraine, and suddenly the business model of the Conservative Party got put under the microscope, and now we know where all of these people have been hiding their ill-gotten gains, and it's London.
Yeah, but, many years ago, it was one of the big high street coffee shops it was in the headline. They say, this coffee shop not paying enough tax in this country.
Yeah.
And then they say, because it is a headquarters in Luxembourg, or because, but everything's legal.
Of course it is.
With that.
It's legal because that's the way they write the rules. So to make it legal.
My point is, who these people making these rules? Who are they?
Well, Fishy Sunak and his contemporaries.
That's it.
Right.
It means people should be saying, this government, why are you making these rules in the first place, for God's sake?
Well, we know why. Because it benefits them personally. That's the difference between evasion and avoidance of tax. Evasion is what the little people do, not leprechauns. Evasion is where you pay your plumber in cash so that he or she, sexist, doesn't have to pay the VAT. That's evasion. That's against the law, and you will go to prison for avoiding a tenner in tax. If you owe £100 million in tax, then you get to avoid tax because you are so rich that you'll be able to employ one of those shiny buildings in the City of London full of accountants and lawyers, and they will make it happen for you. They will poof invisibility for your money out of the air like one of Harry Potter's wizards. And it's gone. Thanks a lot, Alex. Diane texts, I don't suppose Boris has a magic honesty tree for Fishy Rishi's garden. It would look lovely alongside his magic money tree. There is no magic money tree. If you need money. If you don't need the money, then they got no end of it. How much would you like? Matt emails, I'm a nobody from Bournemouth, says Matt. Just a simple NHS worker. I've just written to HMRC requesting non-dom status. I'll let you know when I get a reply. Matt, I think the reply will be dark boiler-suited individuals will burst through your windows spraying machine gun fire. That will be your official response. And Jason texts, Steve Allen was saying that you have a nice new Mercedes. Good luck with it, says Jason. Well, that would be nice if it were true. I've never had a Mercedes in my life. I can only dream of having a luxury car. Has Steve Allen taken delivery of his new Bentley yet?
I think so, yeah.
What colour is it?
I think it's grey.
Oh, for crying out loud, his last one was grey.
Yeah.
It must be exactly the same.
It's got specks of white in it or something like that.
Specks of white?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, you know, a bit of grey, bit of white.
What, like, I was going to say like his hair, but... and then I remembered. He is giving you misinformation. Liar! Exactly. I ain't got no new car. He's deflecting, is what he's doing. He's trying to make you forget about him boasting about his new Bentley at a time when millions of people were plunged into poverty in this country. Plus, it's not saving the planet, is it? You don't change your car every 6 months just because the tyres need blowing up, Steve. Brighton. Hello, Ben.
Oh, hello.
Ben.
Hello, Nick.
Yes,
How
Ben.
you doing?
Good, thanks.
Yeah. Apologies, I had you on speaker there, mate.
No worries.
I do apologise. Yeah, you know, I rang the other week, to explain how long it would take me and my missus to earn the kind of money we're talking about, which I think amounted to 20,000 years.
Oh.
And obviously, if you're on minimum wage, it would be 69,000 years, which is a lot more.
Yeah.
Right? But I rang in response, actually, to that...
But to earn how much, though? To earn how much? What amount are we talking about?
$1 billion.
So, right.
So if I'm on 52k a year,
Yes.
me and my wife combined,
Right.
we're on 52k, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So it takes roughly 20,000 to earn $1 billion, yeah?
20,000 years.
20,000
Right.
years,
well,
yeah? 'Cause
I probably said at the
luckily-
time that you better get on with it then.
You told me to get my skates on, yeah?
Yes.
And I did.
Oh.
And it's still going to take me 20,000 years.
Is it?
I've upped my game, yeah, but it's still going to take me roughly... I think I've managed to knock off about 2 or 3 years.
Well, there you go.
There you go. So I'm not doing badly. Anyway, the reason I actually rang, I'm sorry to repeat, was that there was this fella that texted you earlier on. I think his name was Daryl. And there's this weird attitude, which I see a lot in my job,
Yeah.
as a doorman, a bouncer, yeah?
Right.
What I might call aggressive cowardice, yeah? So the fella that texted in, and he was a bit of a pillock, to be honest, and he seemed to think that everything was okay and we should just take it on the chin.
Suck it up.
And it's this, suck it up, yeah? And it seemed like there's this weird kind of thing where people get really aggressive about
Are you
actually...
talking about the guy who said it's the I should not
I'm
speak
talking about that pillock,
fishy...
Daryl,
well, I don't know.
Was,
I don't keep names in my head. But he's the chap who said that it's the politics of envy, that guy.
Yes,
Right.
bingo. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and look, honestly, look, I I really don't. I don't actually envy them. I mean, I really don't. It must be such a weird world to live in, that kind of weird place that they inhabit. I don't envy them. But I would just like it if they just gave a little bit back, just a tiny bit back. I mean, after all, we're all suffering, yeah? Just a little bit back.
Well, what you've heard so far, Ben, is bad, but it gets worse. I have detailed files.
Go on.
Well, I'll do it in a minute. I'll let you do your bit, unless you've finished already, and then I'll.
Well, a tiny little bit to add, which is just the fact that what I really hate about this whole debate is the way that the right will actually suddenly start caring about racism and sexism when they can kind of weaponise it.
Exactly.
To their effect, and that really annoys me because I'm no saint, but blimey, these issues are really, really important. So don't minimise them by pretending that this is actually, we're actually. I can't think of anything worse about going after somebody because of their colour or their sex. That's an awful thing to do. But
it's got nothing to do with it.
The reason,
yes,
exactly. It's a total pretense, and it gets right on my bonds, to be honest with you, Nick.
Me too. And the thing is that the ministers that come out, all those nodding dogs that come out and then repeat the same lines over and over again. Well, there's a very distasteful tone to these criticisms of Rishi Sunak's wife, and it sounds racist to me. They've all got their marching orders, and they go out and they just spout this stuff out. Every single one of them saying the same blooming thing. And they know that because they're not stupid. It's worse than that. They're actually, I don't know, is evil a bad word?
Yeah, they're definitely not stupid.
They're not stupid. It is worse than that. So they know that what they're saying is absolute rubbish. It's total nonsense. And yet they're saying it anyway.
Well, do you remember that thing, yeah? It always used to get on my nerves, yeah? When those right-wing fellas would always say to you that a conservative is just a liberal that's been mugged, yeah? Right?
Well,
do you remember that?
I don't think I've ever heard that.
They say
a conservative
is just a liberal that's been mugged, yeah?
Been mugged.
Right? So,
I've never heard that.
So they would say that, yeah? Right. So when the COVID thing happened, yeah, I suddenly thought to myself, well, blimey, yeah, a socialist is just a conservative that's got COVID, because suddenly they're chucking about the cash, yeah? So I actually started thinking to myself, what they do is they'll grab a hold of anything, yeah, and turn it to their own advantage in the most cynical possible ways.
Yeah, well, I think we're at one there. It is totally cynical, and they know that they're being cynical, but they maintain, as far as they can, a straight face while saying it, while insisting that they are actually the victims here. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, I've got. If you think it's bad so far, what with the tax avoidance and the green card and are they living here or are they living in India or are they living in America, and we don't know where they are, but they appear to be actually running this country along with Bodger. Does he actually run the country? Probably not. He's just the guy who goes out and goes, "Paw!" And people say, "Oh, he's doing his best." God, it's vomitous. But I do wish him all the best, and, I hope he has a happy life. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Right, so what are we doing?
Gibbon, we are doing a radio show, but it does remind me that I do a couple of podcasts, 3 in fact. One is called The Whole Show, which is, as it sounds, the whole show put out on the radio Friday and Saturday night. We take the news and the ads out. It takes less time to listen to. You'll use less electricity, and you still won't be able to pay your fuel bill. That's called Nick Abbott, The Whole Show. And it gets stuck up the internet almost as soon as this show is finished. And then we do one, or I do, it's called the Nick Abbott Habit. That's the best of old shows. Just like 30 minutes of concentrated amusement. That comes out on Monday. As does the other one with Carol McGiffin. I do one with Carol McGiffin.
Yeah.
called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol, in which the delightful Carol McGiffin and I try to solve people's problems while laughing our faces off. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. It's on Global Player, which you should have for your device, Global Player. It's on there. It's on an internet ordinarily. Ask for it by name. What's your problem with Nick and Carol?
Oh, right, yeah.
Laura says, to deal with the cost of living crisis, I started eating my bills. It cures my money woes, and my diet is now rich in essential inks. Well, at least, as long as you're getting your 5 a day. St John's Wood. Hello, Jonty. Oh, Jonty. Is there anybody out there? Too late. Guildford. Peter.
Hello, Nick.
Peter.
What constantly amazes me about all this is that people that vote Conservative seem so surprised that this party is a party of greed and selfishness and looking after yourself. I mean, they don't seem to realise that the Conservative Party is the party of low taxes, that means for the rich, and a small state.
Of course.
But they seem, it's only now that they're beginning to say, hang on a minute, these people are greedy. Well, this is the whole ethos of the Conservative Party.
It's the point. It's the USP. It's the I'm all right, Jack brigade.
Yeah, it is. It's the whole existence of the Conservative Party really is to look after the interests of the rich and powerful. But in order to get into power, they have to get people to vote for them.
Yes.
And the way they do that is by throwing out bits and pieces here, Brexit, immigrants, whatever it happens to be.
They spot dinghies.
And people fall for it.
But the people have been falling for be fearful of others, be fearful of people who don't look, talk, walk and squawk exactly like you do. They've been falling for that racket for centuries, since the invention of human beings.
I mean, they don't seem to ever learn. We had 10 years of austerity.
Yeah.
We had benefit cuts. All under different, but they're all the same government.
And they blame it on Labour. The Tories have been in power for 12 years, and it's still Jeremy Corbyn's fault.
Yeah, they didn't like Jeremy Corbyn. They didn't like, what's his name, Ed Miliband before. They don't like Starmer. It's like they've been convinced by the right-wing press that somehow the Labour Party is the party of the devil. And, don't vote for them because they're wicked.
Yes.
Vote for us greedy people, and we'll make out that we care about you and point out that we don't like immigrants and hope that we can appeal to your bigotry. And then when we do get elected, we look after the interest of our own people. That's what they're all about. They always have been about that.
I find it amazing that people find it amazing the amount of times I've been told we knew what we were voting for, and then they express surprise with every turn this government makes, and try to. I don't know what's going on in their minds. They absolutely flat out refuse to admit that they've been had, because that's too much loss of face. So they have to twist the truth to make it such that they knew what they were voting for, and what they were voting for is what they've got. It's just that being poor and cold and hungry seems a weird thing to have voted for.
Yeah, I'm just dumbfounded by it all. I cannot. I've even now in the last few days I've heard, what's tally programs and radio and so on, and I've heard callers ringing in and they were going on about Fishy Rishy's wife and so on. And you hear people ring, like a pensioner I heard, and then I heard someone else ringing in, and she said, I'm dirt poor, but I'm behind Rishy's wife because this is the politics of envy.
Right.
I ain't got any money, but I support them.
I'll tell you what it's like. It's like being a schoolboy back in the 1970s. Thank you, sir. May I have another?
That's right. Yeah,
that.
it is.
Yeah.
The more you hit them, the harder you make life for them.
The more they appear to like it, the more they furiously scrabble around to try to justify the decision that they made to elect those people that are doing it to them.
I get the feeling, Nick, that if a Tory government, were ever to turn around and say, look, what we're going to do, we think, because the rich are the so-called wealth creators, which they're not, but because they are, that we think they are, we believe that they pay no tax at all.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'd be some working class people out there saying things like, well, that's fine, I agree with that, because they're the wealth creators, as long as you put up my taxes.
Right, what they would say is, if we tax the rich at all, then they will leave and they'll take all their money with them, and then we'd be sorry. So I completely agree with you, Peter. It's just mind bending that so many people seem determined to vote for a party that has never acted in their best interest. I mean, it's just remarkable. 12 years and it's still Labour's fault. Leslie texts with an update on Steve's new car. It's fountain blue with a cream interior. Well, that actually sounds quite nice. Can I have a ride, Steve?
No.
I'll assume that the answer is no. Thanks a lot, mate. It's the bus for me, which is bright red with a sort of orange interior. Lovely, no? Clive says, seeing as most of the government characters look as though they are straight from the Beano comic, I think you rename Sunak Richie Rishi, another cartoon figure. Nikki says, I've been working on the A to Z since January. I've got loads already. What a shambles. The A to Z. Okay, the thing that I do at Christmas. I was thinking, what, the map? Because nobody uses the A to Z of London anymore, or the A to Z of anywhere else for that matter. Everybody uses their phone. No one can read a map now. I mean, I used to have problems back when we had to, but now, forget it. Your smartphone is making you stupid. Pretty soon we won't have any idea where we are at any time of the day or night without consulting our phone. Anyway, Nikki says, I've been working on the A to Z since January. I've got loads already. What a shambles. I've run out of printer paper now. That's the A to Z of 2022, which will be on the air around about, well, that's a bit presumptuous of me to say so, but if things go as they have done lately, the past few years, that will be around Christmas time. At which point we will have a lot to talk about. Ricky tweets, do you think Fishy will be battered or breaded with chips? Well, I think he's had his chips, that's for sure. Thank you, Fishy. You have delighted us enough. But it's worse than everything that you've heard about so far about that family. I have detailed files. It's actually...
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Shut up.
Hang about, Nick. Listen. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is this, Nick, right?
0345 6060 973. Lawrence texts, my brother was looking for Nick Abbott greeting cards today but came up short. Have you ever thought of another business venture, Nick? No, Lawrence. I work 9 hours a week. Are you kidding me? I'm busy off my... I'm busier than Eric Pickles. Josie texts... I mean, just once in a while, try a salad for crying out loud. Josie texts, chipping is an old word for market. It was a question on University Challenge last week. Is that a fact? So that bloke that was from Chipping Camden, he had got no idea what he was talking about. Embarrassing. San Miguel in Alicante in Spain. Jane. The Jane in Spain is mainly in Alicante.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Jane.
Thank you so much for your weekly dose of sanity.
Well, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for saying thank you.
Actually, it's been wild here. The weather has been wild.
Describe wild?
Wilder than 60-mile-an-hour winds, rain for 3 weeks, red sand.
Right.
I mean, we're talking, yeah.
Well, we had the red sand. Yeah, it's all over cars everywhere. Every car is covered
here,
in
it
dust.
was all over everybody.
Yeah.
Anyway.
If you stood still long enough, you get covered in it, yeah.
You did, yeah. What I wanted to say, I listened to all of these different points of view. There's an old saying which says, "Oh, what a tangled web we weave when we first practice to deceive."
Right.
And that's the part that people don't listen to. They practice to deceive.
So what's the significance of that?
That's why we're in the mess we're in, because they're all practicing to deceive.
Right.
Rather than...
actually achieving that, yeah.
Yeah, spinning a web,
Amateurs.
which... If you watch spiders, they always weave the same web perfectly.
Well, not when I'm around, because I bash them with a rolled-up newspaper, and then they weave no more. And please, people, do not call this show and say spiders are people too. You know.
No, I wouldn't do.
Right.
I wouldn't do that.
Then.
Not at all. But
I actually trap them and throw them out the door. I don't.
I know
I
you
tend
do.
not to bash them. I trap them.
I know.
Upturned glass and then chuck them out the door.
You're a kind soul.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, my point is that when people practice to deceive, they know exactly what they're doing. It's not like they don't know what they're doing, the government.
Of course they do.
You know, the leaders of the world, it's not like they don't know what they're doing, and yet they all go, we don't know what we're doing, we don't know who done it, we don't know. But they're all practicing to deceive the whole time.
Yeah.
And no matter what I listen to on whatever level regarding the world, it's those that are practicing to deceive that everybody else suffers for.
Yeah, you wait till they finish practicing and they get really good at it. Then we'll be screwed.
No, don't. I'm trying to be
serious. Wrong show, Jane.
Here,
optimistic. Right. Okay. Well, I'll play you some optimistic music. There you are. Thanks a lot, Jane. 0345 6060 973. Ian texts, I bought some expensive cream this week to get rid of the wrinkles around my eyes. Oh, this sounds like the set-up to a joke.
Warning, warning.
Shall I continue? All right, then. I bought some expensive cream this week to get rid of the wrinkles around my eyes. I thought it would make me look younger. Anyway, some went in my eye, and now I can't see. Luckily, the radio is non-visual, says Ian. He had a little squirt in his eye. Foolish person. How can that stuff make you, unless they're advertising with us, in which case it really does make you look fantastic. Do you mind if I say that? You won't be offended if I say that, will you? Oh, the way you look today. It's an absolute revelation. That cream it really does it for you. How can a cream make you look younger? That's just silly, isn't it? An entire industry worth billions is based on you believing that it isn't. Billy emails, Chipping Norton is also where Jeremy Clarkson's Diddley Squat Farm is. Thoroughly recommend a visit if passing through. Billy, I will never pass through Chipping Norton. I don't even know where it is. I wouldn't be able to find Chipping Norton with a sat-nav. Bristol. Hello, Max.
Oh, good evening, Nick.
Max.
Yes, I've got a simple couple of points. One is, I want you to tell me that whilst I think your channel is great, it's you're very often preaching to the converted. Now, what do you think about Nadine Dorris, sorry to swear like that, her proposal to privatise Channel 4?
It all seems a part of a piece. I mean, she said, I think the BBC was being impertinent enough to quiz a minister perfectly reasonably. And didn't she say that's going to cost them a lot of money in the licence fee negotiations? And now, because Channel 4 News have been telling the truth about the government, which is apparently a very, very bad thing to do, and now she's going to sell them off and they'll all get fired. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible what's happening in this country.
Do you find that that's a little bit Putin-esque,
Yes, I do, as a matter of fact.
That is so worrying.
Not Putanesca, because that's like a pasta. That's an olive-based pasta sauce. I think that's right. Putinesca, not Putanesca.
Oh, you will not read it.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you also think about Ursula von der Leyen thinking that Ukraine can be allowed into the EU?
I think it's up to the people who are members of the EU. You can't railroad it through. It's a decision made in the Rainbow Coalition of the European Union. I also think they might have a problem with their economy, but I can understand her why she would want to make it happen. Because there is a certain element of protection. For a country that comes under attack, if you're a member of the European Union.
Yes, but shouldn't we have thought about that ourselves?
Well, we were persuaded to do something that is obviously not in our best interests. All that Project Fear turns out to be Project Fact. And we were persuaded because of a fear of others. Stop this tide of human beings that talk with funny accents coming over here and taking our jobs. And now we find that they after only 5 years of us screaming at them to get out of our country, they did. And now we're like, no, wait, come back. 500,000 vacancies in farming alone. And this government is doing its utmost to keep foreigners out because, like I said, that's what they have to offer their fans when the election comes around. We are the party that will make it so that you don't hear a funny accent on the bus. That's pretty much all they've got. That and this woke nonsense that they'll keep stirring up, regardless of a genuine lack of interest. I mean, you have to really sort of work yourself up into an interest in all that woke nonsense. I mean, to sort of justify being insensitive to others as an offering for a political party. I mean, it's pretty thin gruel, isn't it? So they got woke, keeping out the foreigners. What's the other one? I can't. They've got three things. That's all they've got, which is why they'll keep keeping out foreigners, because otherwise they've only got the woke thing, and that's it. and I still bet that they win the next general election. I bet ya. Who wants to take that bet? Max, I've got to go. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. I'll come back and tell you the really bad news about the Fishy family.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Hello, number please. Trying to connect you. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Pat in Oxted.
Oh, hello.
Pat.
I've just had a marvellous idea. Why don't we scrap technology, scrap education, and let Angela Rayner run the country?
Angela Rayner?
Yes.
Why not?
I'm for Angela Rayner. No education whatsoever, so we're wasting money on education. We could spend that on something else, couldn't we? Like going on more holidays.
We don't need no education. We don't need no thought control.
No, we don't need an education, do we? Angela Rayner can manage it. Gosh, she's going to be the next Prime Minister if we're not careful. Or rather, if we're lucky.
Well, which is it?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it?
That is the question. What's the answer?
See if somebody's got an answer.
I will. I'll throw it out there, Pat. Anybody got an answer? It's a no. Chris texts, unbelievable. Mrs. Sunak is now going to start paying tax. Do you know how much money she has just saved millionaires and billionaires in this country? I thought non-dom status was on the verge of being changed because of her. Oh, well, we can't miss what we were never going to get. We can't miss what we were never going to get. Yeah. Keith, what's so good about Jeremy Clarkson's Diddley Squat Farm, by the way? I mean, what's there? It's a farm. What's so great about it? It's got a shop. What does he sell in his shop? And is it as expensive as those farm, like pop-up farm shops things? What do they call them? Like farm fairs, where farmers come along and sell their product. At like 5 times what it would cost in Tesco's. Farmers markets is the right answer. Yeah, farmers markets. How come they're so expensive, by the way, farmers markets? I mean, it is like 5 times the cost of anything that you find in Tesco's. Why? Because they're cutting out the middleman and they're selling it to you straight from they've yanked it out the earth and have slapped it on a trestle table. Why does it cost so much? I mean, it's not better, necessarily, is it? I mean, broccoli still tastes like broccoli, don't it? That was sort of... I'd never really understood that. Like meat. Like, why is meat from a farmer's market so much more than from a supermarket? Whereas the farm that's selling you the meat directly is probably also selling the meat to the supermarket, and the supermarket is putting on they're sticking on their, what's the word for it? Not profit, but their margin. So you'd think it'd be cheaper, but it's not. It's never cheaper. I remember I went to a farmer's, like it was a French farmer's market in Putney when I used to live in Putney, and absolutely everything on this trestle table, I could swear that they had actually bought it in Tesco's. It was the mustard with the sort of gingham top and like some cheeses that they looked like they bought in the Tesco's dairy section and just unwrapped and put on their table and trebled the price. And the bread. Now, actual, proper, real French bread might be the best thing that humankind has ever invented. And that was not what they were selling. They were selling British supermarket bread and calling it French baguettes. No! Wrong. Wasn't. I wonder if that's still happening. But people are apparently okay at paying double or triple the price that they would in a supermarket for the exact same stuff just because it's being sold to them in the street. It's a no from me, and furthermore... No. 0345 6060 973. Bromley. Hello, Virginia.
Hello, Nick. Can you hear me?
Yes, Virginia.
Oh, Nick, I'm so depressed with it all. I just need you to offer me some crumbs of comfort.
Well, I've got even worse news, if you can believe it.
Oh, go on, hit me with it.
Well, I'll tell you what, you tell me your thing and then I'll hit you with it later. But you'll have to prepare yourself. You won't like it.
Well, you know, just this whole situation with the government at the moment, it's just like some sort of shambolic freak show, isn't it? And
it's just one thing after the next.
They're going broke. They're going for broke. I think they know they're done.
I bet they're not.
Ripping everything out of us.
I bet they're not done.
They're voted out. And I want you to tell me that we will vote them out, that this electorate will vote them out in the next election.
Virginia, I strongly believe that they will get in again next time. I strongly believe that because they have two things.
You said that about Trump, and it didn't happen with Trump, and that's what I'm holding on to, that the states didn't re-elect Trump. So can we please try and hold on to, surely now with all these horrendous increases in council tax, fuel bills, everything, the whole schmooze of everything that's going on with the government at the moment. It's disgusting. I'm disgusted. I can't even bear to listen to the news anymore. The only thing that gets me through, I have to sort of rationalise what I listen to on the news, and can only listen to you or James O'Brien to get some sort of sense of what's okay and
perspective.
To keep me pumped up.
Exactly.
Exactly, because there's nothing else. I mean, these government ministers come on and they're just...
And they lie and they lie and they lie.
Yes, but it's the sort of ease with which they put on that pan face and they can just lie to us. It's almost Orwellian, isn't it?
It's
like
exactly
1984.
It's actually creepy.
It's sinister,
Yeah,
Nick.
it's
It
sinister.
frightens me, you know.
Me too.
And I'm a child of the 60s, and, you know, I remember as a teenager in the 80s, politics seemed fair. You know, it was a fair fight between Tories.
Yeah, I suppose so. I wonder if there were... hang on a minute. I wonder if there was a lot of what is happening now that we didn't know about because there was less information about then.
You think?
Maybe.
Really?
But
Really?
I do believe that this is the worst government that this country has probably ever had. It must be. There can't be a worse government in the entire history of this country. There can't be a more corrupt government in the entire history of this country. That must be true.
Absolutely correct. I don't think that's possible at all. I think in history this will be the most corrupt and disgraceful government that we've had. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing for us as a country.
I am embarrassed.
In Europe, I'm embarrassed about the fact that we've left Europe, and you know we're just like a laughing stock. A complete laughing stock.
Well, we voted for a clown.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And now we're a laughing stock. Who would have predicted that? Well, cheer up, Virginia. It might never have. Oh, no, that's right. It already has.
Well, thank Carol McGiffin as well.
All right.
Keep going on.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, Virginia. That's Carol McGiffin that I do a podcast with called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I think you'll find it a delight. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. What's your problem with Nick and Carol? If you wish to just check out of this nightmare and be amused for an hour, then I think it'll be right up your alley. Comes out on Mondays. There's 200 up there, or is it 100? No, it's 100. There's over 100 up there. Over 100 hours of top quality entertainment. You're welcome. And we haven't killed each other yet. Amazing. 0345 6060 973. So if you thought that you've heard the worst about Fishy Sunak and his family, it's worse than you've heard so far, at least on this show. Worse than that. I'll come to that in a minute. Let's Chelsea. Hello, Mark.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When Putin, I'm sorry to go back to this boring old news of Ukraine and Putin.
Root and toot.
He said, his words were, Britain, I quote, Britain will pay a high price for this, meaning we're now we've exceeded $1 billion in cash and state-of-the-art weaponry, along with the US. One of your experts kindly referred to it as the Anglosphere. So I hesitate to call it the North Atlantic Treaty Organization because it's not Turkey, Greece, Portugal, and various other countries. It seems to be America and Britain who lead the way as they do God's own work in theatre after theatre after theatre.
What, Mark? What are you talking about? God's own work? What's God got to do with it?
Okay, put him out of the or her out of the equation.
Yes.
Now, given the historical, undeniable fact that you as a journalist know...
I'm not a journalist.
Okay, you're a carpenter. Listen to me. Czechoslovakian Semtex via Libya made its way to the IRA. If we...
Oh, God, Mark, what are you talking about? I mean, seriously. Does this have anything to do with what we have been talking about for the last 2.5 hours on this show?
You won't let me tell you what I'm talking about. Will you
Sum it
give
up.
me 18 seconds?
Headline it for me in 5 words.
Right. We equip people to shoot at his troops. It is very possible the new IRA and the real IRA will be re-equipped and refunded.
Is that what you're worried about, the IRA? If the IRA want to equip themselves with military hardware, I'm sure it's relatively easy for the IRA to get. Ain't got no never mind about what we do in Ukraine. Are you saying that our reaction to what's happening in Ukraine is a good or a bad thing? I'm not sure.
Sorry, what was the question?
Oh, well, I refer you to the question I gave some moments ago. This entire show will be out on a podcast shortly. You'll be able to listen to it again. I don't know where that was going, Mark, but I knew that I didn't want to go there. That was a destination I did not pay a ticket to travel to. But at least he was angry. It was something about Semtex. I think that's a new delivery company, isn't it? I think they changed their name from one thing to, and now they're called Semtex. Chris texts, oh no, I've read that. Keith tweets, with his obvious success in getting roads in Kent ready as lorry parks after Brexit, Chris Grayling should replace Fishy. Yeah, how's that whole Brexit thing going, by the way?
Dreadful.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah. Never mind. It's only happening to us live in person. It's just life, that's all. David texts, at this point, the Conservative Party might as well just change their name to The Sopranos.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. It's not a government, it's a smash and grab raid. They just charge about, arms flailing, trying to find anything that they haven't sold off yet for a quick profit for a vanishingly few number of people. I mean, who profited from the gas sell-off, by the way? And why haven't we heard it from Sid lately? Did you profit from the gas sell-off? Are your shares worth considerably more than they were before? Has it changed your life? Because the price of gas has changed your life. In France, where they didn't sell off their gas or their electricity, they weren't stupid enough. Even in France, they weren't stupid enough to do that. The price rise has been capped at 4%. 4, not 400. 4%. In this country, we sold it all off to private concerns. And what a shocker. They're only interested in making money for themselves. Isn't that surprising?
No.
Not really. Entirely predictable. We're not only stupid enough to have sold off our gas and electricity, we sold off our water. Our water. For who for? For the benefit of whom? Did you make a lot of money out of it? I know I didn't, but somebody did. We sold our water, and by we, I mean they. And now they're going to sell Channel 4. Well, unless I missed a memo, it's not theirs to sell. It's ours. What is happening in this country? I mean, seriously, I am now mystified. I don't recognise this land anymore.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
2 short years, and this bumbling oaf has ruined this country. I mean, this entire country is up on bricks, and its wheels have been nicked. 0345 6060 973. Oh, look, it's 12:30. The news headlines on LBC with Zora Suleiman.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Everything is going extremely well.
You bet your life it is. Could have driven a bus through that gap. David texts, at this point, the Conservative... I read that already. I must delete them as I go down. Otherwise, I make a foolish error. I bet I look like an idiot to you. Zoe texts, what do you think about Will Smith being banned for the next 10 years from the Oscars? Well, let me think about that. I don't care about the Oscars. I can't believe anybody does anymore. Nobody goes to the cinema apart from anything else. The Oscars. The only reason that show is not dead in the water is because Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. Otherwise, there would have been zero interest. None at all. I mean, why is it such a thing? I mean, if you think about it, it's the most prestigious award ceremony in the world, and it is millionaires giving each other prizes for pretending to be someone else for money. What's that about? Nick tweets, I am thinking this fishy leak with his missus may be Cummings. Oh, Dominic Cummings. Yeah. You remember Dominic Cummings, don't you? No! Yeah, that's him. Well, the thing about Dominic Cummings is that he may be a despicable person from the top of his beanie hat to the soles of his flip-flops, but if he illuminates misdeeds and criminality, then keep going, mate. Just as long as we don't have to like you, that's all. Lazarus texts, imagine having to pay £30,000 not to be British. It's cheaper to become a British citizen than it is not to want to be one. Does Mrs. Sunak know something that we don't? Yeah, by paying £30,000 to be non-dom, you could save £30,000 million in tax. As long as you exist only as a rainbow for tax reasons. John texts, you say about tantrums. Many years ago, I thought I would save some money and create my own double-glazed front window. I had 2 panes of glass cut to size and some beading for between the 2 panes. I fitted the first pane in and then carefully used panel pins to fit the beading. One final tap and a great big crack across the window. I was so cross, I threw the hammer down and it bounced up and broke the other pane. Huh. Shame you didn't get that on video, John. That would have been amusing. You could have earned a fortune on YouTube. Right, I've got some bad news. I mean, you think that the news that you've heard already about Fishy and his various shenanigans is bad, but you wait till you hear this. But I don't want to tell you now, because, where's the fun in that? Josh says, at the same time that Fishy's fishy fishwife was dodging millions of pounds in taxes, Fishy himself reduced the energy rebate from a suggested £500 to £200. Yeah, but they're doing their best, say their fans, as they freeze to death and starve to death. You've got my vote, Boris. I bet they will get in again. They will, because they've already got their attack plan ready. 3 stages. First, dinghy spotting. People coming over here. And then the woke thing, the statue police and the pronoun police and all the rest of that. So they will save you from woke. This woke nightmare must stop now. That kind of thing. And also they will pepper the internet with billions of highly targeted adverts, just like was successfully used to get us out of the European Union. They will squirt billions of adverts all over social media. And it will look as though they're from, people that are just like you. It will look like a grassroots organisation. Concerned citizens getting together to, express their displeasure or pleasure. But it won't be grassroots. It'll be astroturfing, which is when a large organisation, probably funded by a billionaire, and it's usually the same billionaires, same names keep cropping up all the time. And it will purport to be grassroots, but it'll actually be fake. That's why they call it astroturfing. Not grassroots, plastic grass, astroturfing. Get ready, because it's coming to a location near you. It's coming to a computer screen near you soon. Wendy emails, who plays golf on their own? Well, I did, principally because I'm really, really bad at it, and I didn't know anybody else who played golf. That was when I was in Leeds, I think. I didn't know anybody there who played golf. What I fervently wished for was nobody on the golf course saying, "Oh, come and join us for a 4 or whatever, or a 3 or a 2," because I didn't want to play next to anybody else because I'm rubbish at golf. And just for it's supposed to be relaxing. Is it relaxing? No, it's not. It's incredibly frustrating, and it wound me up no end. And the more wound up you get, the worse you get at it. That's the really annoying thing. And you get because after your 5th ball goes in the river, you start to hit the ball even harder in anger, and it goes even further away from where you intended it to go. I hate golf. I'd like to be able to play it well, but I'm not interested in actually learning how to play it. Like the piano. I'd love to be able to play the piano. Wouldn't it be marvellous to be able to walk into a room and sit down at the piano and play? That would be great. I'd love to be able to do that, but I'm not remotely interested in learning how to do it. Is there a workaround? 0345 6060 973. Watford. Hello, John.
Hi there, Nick.
John.
Hi.
Yes, John.
I just wanted to ask the question regarding Rishi Sunak and his wife's tax affairs.
Yes.
Everyone seems to be having quite a lot of a go at her for what she's doing, but rules...
We're being mean.
I wouldn't say being mean. It just seems to be a bit inaccurate. People are saying that she's paying 30 grand to be a non-dom.
Yeah.
But actually the domicile rules are because she was born in India. That's her domicile of origin. Now, because she's come over to the UK, you're allowed to have 7 years where if you, for example, let's say you came over and you worked here and you earned income, the salary that you earn here in the UK, you would pay tax on.
Yeah, there's a box on the form, and she ticked non-dom. It's not by accident. It's not because those are the rules. She chose to be that.
No, Nick, it's called the remittance basis. You can tick to pay tax on the remittance basis.
John, I've read about a dozen times today various tax experts saying that it was a choice that she made. She made that choice. It wasn't visited upon her. She wasn't some helpless individual who couldn't choose one way or the other.
No, you can choose to pay the tax on a remittance basis. Only the income that you then remit to the UK, your overseas income that you remit to the UK, you pay tax on.
Okay, my eyes are glazing over. This sounds like accountancy wonkery. But to tell us the it of it, she's been unfairly maligned. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think that it's just sort of inaccurate. That's all. Because if she is here for over 7 years, she has to pay 30,000. If you're here over 12 years, you're a non-dom, but you're resident here, tax resident here. Over 12 years, you have to pay 50,000, and then you can only claim non-dom residence, tax residency, up to I think it's 17 years, and then you have to pay everything, all your worldwide income, on an arising basis. As for the inheritance tax piece, if she's here for 15 out of 20 years, then her worldwide estate will be taxed for UK inheritance tax.
Right. None of that actually lodged with me at all, John. So boring. But I think the it of it is she chose her current, or what used to be before she said, before she volunteered to pay tax. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
It was a mode of organising her affairs that she selected. It wasn't something that she had no choice over. And as an ordinary super rich individual, you would expect that in this country because that's what we do for a living. We're a tax haven. Let's not pretend otherwise. That's what we do. We used to make things, and then a certain individual, you remember Margaret Thatcher? Yeah, that's her. A certain individual made it such that we didn't make things anymore, and all we did was move numbers about on a screen to and from the Cayman Islands or the British Virgin Islands or, one of those other dodgy tax havens with the Union Jack flying from their government building. That's what we do now, the Isle of Man, places like that. But it's worse than you've heard. Now, keep in mind, well, all right, I'll tell you after the break. I'm going to have to gird myself. I'll work up to it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've never had the ability to pay attention when accountants or economists start to speak. I just can't. It all just sounds like to me. It just goes in one ear and out the other. But basically, it's a choice that she made. I mean, you don't choose to be non-dom in order to pay more taxes, do you? It's something that is available to the super rich who wish to pay less. I mean, that's indisputable, isn't it? So if she were just an ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill billionaire, then that's understandable and predictable. But she isn't. She's married to the actual blooming Chancellor of the Exchequer. The fellow that's just visited tax rises on us, failed to help us poor dopes who pay taxes. So it's not being mean. That's ridiculous. And it's not being racist. What's that got to do with it? And it's not being sexist either. Those desperate excuses that all those nodding dogs that got pushed out, those ministers who did the rounds, right? And there must have been some sort of focus group or some, like blue sky thinking group got together. How are we going to get our way out of this one? Oh, I know. We'll call them racist. That'll work. Painful. John emails, so Fishy is a permanent resident of the US and his wife is a non-dom being based in India. Do these people know each other? Not very well, apparently. Didn't she get something of the order of nigh on £12 million in dividends last year? And Fishy didn't even know. How can your wife get £12 million in a year and you not know about it? Unless you've got so much money that it's just nothing to you. Anyway, John says, and Boris was born in New York. Is it too much to ask that the people governing the UK have some sort of connection to this country? Yes. Yeah, I think at this point it is. Yeah. They've all got their escape boats ready. When the good ship SS Britannia hits the rocks, they've already got their escape pod ready. Don't you worry about that. They'll be just fine. 0345 6060 973, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
0345 6060 973. Kate texts, what is Mrs. Sunak saving for? Is she a philanthropist? I don't know, do you? Can you tell us, says Kate. Philanthropist. See, you and me, we give money to charity. The super rich are philanthropists. Lucy texts, I wish people would just give Starmer credit for being an honest man who left his high-paid job to try and improve ordinary lives. It is what decent politicians were valued for once. Oh, yeah, back in the good old days. You know, like 15 years ago. Is that what you mean, Lucy? Yeah, dim, distant memory. Yeah, he does seem like a decent and honest man compared to the catastrophic clown show that we got running this country at the moment.
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times.
I mean, really? Listen to the man.
I followed the ministerial guidance at all times.
Yeah. He is the leader of this country.
Oh, no.
We are doomed. But, you know, Keir Starmer's problem is that he is not, he doesn't wave his arms around and go, paw, a lot and act like he's just stepped out of the Beano. He doesn't have that. He's a real human being as opposed to a cartoon character or caricature, like a caricature of the rich. the party, the Conservative Party, seemed to be a caricature of what poor people think rich people would be like. And this guy is a case in point.
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
I mean, he does seem to be like the caricature of a rich person that a poor person would imagine, doesn't he? I don't know if he actually exists in real life. Is he a person or is it a hologram? Is he real or is it Memorex? Martin says, regarding Fishy's wife's non-dom status, can you imagine if this was Diane Abbott's husband? Oh, my God. I think the right-wing offshore billionaire press would have exploded. They'd have had to rent out more space on the internet to pour their ire all over her. Sue texts, just think what Rishi's wallpaper is like. Carrie must be sick with envy. I wonder how she could ever get her own back. I bet he papers his walls with 50s. Must do. Or he has a whole new note minted just for him personally. Thousands. Jack tweets, I believe everyone should have a choice if they want to pay tax or not, just like the rich have a choice. I think that is a good idea, Jack. Yeah, I mean, if they have a choice, then why can't we have a choice too? I mean, I could decide to voluntarily pay a tax, just like the rich do, or not, as the case may be. Just depends how I feel. They do it and they rely on us not doing it, because if we didn't do it, nothing would work. They can get away with it because there's so relatively few of them, the super rich. But if we all decided not to pay tax, then everything would crumble. Nothing would work. And so we run furiously in one place just to keep still in order to pay the taxes that actually don't really seem to benefit us that much. The government takes our taxes and they say, "Thank you." And that's the last we see of it. But it's worse than I've been explaining so far. I'll take this call and then I'll tell you the bad news. Hackney, hello, Richard.
Hello, Nick. You've kind of stolen my thunder because I'm going to say that I feel such an idiot. I mean, all of this time, I thought tax was compulsory. I never realised it was voluntary.
Foolish Richard.
The amount of money I've given to the Exchequer, just to have them blow it on heated stables and
cheese and wine
and duck ponds.
Yes.
If I'd have known I could keep it, I'd have kept it, and I'd have, spent it on my own duck pond.
Richard, you must feel like an idiot.
I mean, many people have suspected, but I didn't realise it was true until today.
Right.
Let me get this straight. If we charge rich people tax,
yes,
they'll go away.
They'll leave, yeah,
and they'll stop. Society will collapse because they're not paying tax anymore.
Yeah, they're not going to be investing in this country, which is the excuse that some minister gave for not enacting a windfall tax on the energy giants. They're making billions and billions of pounds, more than they could possibly ever have dreamed because of the high price of energy.
That's the one where they take away their business and they stop employing all these people.
Right.
Half of which we're paying working tax credits to because the in-work payment is so low.
Correct.
It can't actually sustain you.
Yeah, that's socialism, but that's good economic policy. That kind of socialism where the money goes up to the rich. That's just economic prudence. But the bad socialism is where the rich have to pay for a lot of poor people, and we wouldn't want that.
No.
It just encourages them.
Right. So as long as they're not paying tax and they're not paying their workers, they can stay here, but God forbid they ever leave.
I know. Then we'd really be in trouble.
We'd really be in trouble.
All right. Thanks a lot, Richard. All right. Here's the bad news. 2 companies linked to Chancellor Rishi Sunak's wife both took taxpayers' money to pay UK staff under the furlough scheme during the pandemic. What? The Fish's wife, who is estimated to be worth north of £700 million, has come under scrutiny for her tax-reducing non-domiciled status, as you know. But it's worse than that. She is apparently the fashion designer daughter of the billionaire who founded the software firm Infosys, which furloughed 3% of its UK staff in 2020. Now keep in mind that the owner is a billionaire. The company was estimated by sources to have had up to 10,000 workers at the time, meaning up to 300 workers were furloughed. Now, a billionaire could just have continued to pay their wages. But why would you do that, when we poor dopes who pay taxes can? 42-year-old Ms. Murty also claimed up to £635,000 of furlough money at her gym business, Dig Me Fitness, when it closed its 8 studios in London and Oxford. Is that true? She's worth £700 million, and she claimed £635,000 of furlough money, which her husband was doling out, by the way. Ms. Murty had a 4.5% stake in Dig Me Fitness and was a director of the firm, but it collapsed, leaving the taxpayer, that's you, with debts of £415,000. Figures revealed by the Daily Mirror in February 2021 showed that Dig Me Fitness had claimed between £50,000 and £100,000 in furlough money in December of 2020. But it's worse than that, because a later report in The Times in March 2022 then revealed it had received between £310,000 and £635,000 in furlough between December 2020 and September 2021. She's worth £700 million or more. The chain, Dig Me Fitness, appointed administrators this February after struggling to relaunch itself online with live-streamed workouts and collapsed, owing around £6.1 million, amongst which £415,000 owed to you. Specifically, owed to Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, which were said to be for unpaid VAT, PAYE and national insurance. That's according to The Times. Well, you got to have a laugh, ain't you? Otherwise, it's just too miserable. I'll be back at 10 this evening. First of all, reading the many texts and such that I didn't get around to this time around. In the meantime, Ian Payne, I think you'll find, is here from 4 o'clock. But first, it's Clyde Ball.
Nick, thank you. And we'll talk more about Rishi Sunak. Some of the papers, we'll look at the front pages in a moment, are talking about him fighting to save his job. Is it that serious?